Hey there! Welcome to Alicia Dianne Art. I'm Alicia Dianne, and I'm a visual artist, and I help artists discover that they already have everything they need to tell stories. I am going to be going through studying the masters. We're on season 5 right now, so I'm going to be doing Zootopia in honor of the new Zootopia that's coming out. I have a collection of art books and making of books, and one of the ones I have is the original art of Zootopia. So I use this as a reference. A lot of times I'll use my art books as references just for sketch practice. I like to practice with lots of different styles, and I think it's a great tool and technique for artists if you want to learn and adapt new skills. One of the best ways to do is to practice drawing from other artists. That's one of the things that I learned from one of my previous mentors, Steven Silver. He was always kind of drilling in us that we should be, practicing from other artists, sketching from other artists. It's one of the things that we do probably early on in our art career that we don't always continue on as we go further along. But I think it's so helpful to continue to keep in that practice. So I just want to go ahead and I'm going to be sharing my screen and we're going to be doing some drawing together. So let's see if I can get it. There we go. Okay, so let me turn this on. Hopefully you can still see me. All right, so this is my Photoshop window. I'm going to be doing, sometimes in studying the masters, I've done a couple different techniques. In some of the first season, you'll see that I'm doing like multiple different artists. So like I'll take different artists in every episode. And then as I started going further along, I would just start doing either one artist or one theme per season. So this one, I'm doing Zootopia, a couple different artists. I have some references that I'm going to be using. So let's see, the first couple are from, here it is, Corey Loftus. You guys can see this. Corey Loftus, these are Corey Loftus. Let's see. Some of these, well, let me scroll. These are the same, what? Anyway, I'm going to exit out of this because it's not letting. What the hell? What happened to the size? I don't know what happened. Anyway, I'm gonna have to fix this because it's not showing me my window properly. Maybe I need to close this whole thing out. I don't know. Anyway, I will figure it out. Let's go back to this. And actually, let me just have it showing as my Photoshop window. That way it won't be going back and forth for me there. Or it shouldn't be going back and forth for me there. Hold on. Let me see if I can figure this out, because right now it's acting up. Alright, I'm going to try this again. Open this with my preview. It might be that my preview just stopped working on me for some reason. That can happen. So let's quit that. And let's open this again. Alright, so that seems to be working good. Alright, so I'm just going to go through one by one and just do some sketching. I'll be talking about random events in life. Whatever is going on, I like to kind of discuss the animation industry. What is happening with the animation industry this time, at this strange time that we're all living in? This strange and unusual time. I don't know. I hear a lot of people kind of panicking a little bit. The last couple of times that I've went to different events, some people are like trying to almost quell the fires. I don't know if that's even the right term for that, but it seems like there's a couple of people that are like, no, it's fine. But then I'm hearing a lot more people saying, no, it's not fine. I don't know. I know that I think I did talk about this some time ago. What was happening with Paramount recently laying off a bunch of people from the animation. I don't know. I'm going to be at the animation VFX show that's it's essentially starting this weekend, but officially kicks off on Monday here in Los Angeles. So it's one of the things that I've been doing for a couple of years, just kind of volunteering with the show and helping out. And there's going to be like a lot of industry people there. There's always a lot of industry people there, apparently, like the directors and even one of the actors from like K-pop Demon Hunter is going to be there. I'm not saying that because I'm not going to be like intermingling with any of them. I'm just going to be there, but it just makes me think about the animation industry. And apparently, I mean, I don't know how much I can share. Like, a lot of people aren't coming, a lot of industry people aren't coming. And it was hard to fill the seats from what I'm hearing, but I don't know. Is it just that people are out of work right now? The writer's strike, people never fully recovered from that, apparently. And I'm seeing less and less people get hired for work. Not that there was always, not that in at least my generation there's been an abundance, but I don't want to sound like discouraged. That was kind of like the old way that I used to kind of think of things, was like, oh no, it's going to be doom and gloom. And I don't think that that's really, even if there is some truth to it, I don't think it's the best way to hold your mind. So what is the best way to hold your mind? That's a good question. That's something I think we're all trying to at least attempt to figure out. You figure out his eyeballs. One of the things I should say, I always think it's important to not completely rely on the reference. Even though you are relying on the reference, you want to think about the character for yourself too, just as an artist, as a drawing individual. You still want to think about the expression that the character has. Not get too caught, especially if like you're doing the first drawings. The first couple are never really the best ones, especially when you're trying to figure out a new character. Well, at least that's how it is for me. When I'm trying to figure out a new character, it takes me a couple of bites to get it right. Let's see. And even still, some are harder than others. I tend to pretty much like animal characters, so hopefully that's one of the things that I was like thinking about too. This season is like, all right, animal characters are kind of my thing, so let's see if this translates. His hips really aren't that wide. He has like some leg space, but his hips aren't really very wide at all. They're kind of very narrow. He has a little bit of leg muscle. I think his waist goes in even more than that. Alright, let's see. He's got this huge tail. Alright, back to what I was talking about with the industry. I don't know where all the production is happening. Netflix is producing animation, but they're not making any animations for themselves. K-pop, I know, was done by Sony. So, I don't know. I got a couple of industry magazines. I haven't read them in a while. I need to read them. I need to read them because I don't know. I want to go into, I think the big thing that's been on my mind is I want to go into the business of animation. How does that work? I don't know yet. I mean, I want to go in as a business owner. I've been doing just like freelance and illustration my whole career, but I want to do original content animation in graphic novels. So it's like, man, animation, it feels like such a team sport though. So it's definitely not something that I want to do alone, because it's just a team effort. Even when you think about really short films, I mean, I've done shorts, but it's more fun to do it with other people. Not that work is really fun, but you want it to be enjoyable. Make his neck, I feel, is a little bit taller. It's like up here. It's a lot of eyeballing in this. A lot of like, all right, where does this go? Where does that go? I have a lot more drawings to do too, so I better speed it up. And I think his ears are more side. Almost like, you know, the animals, how they express themselves with their ears, especially like dog and cat animals. And foxes are what? They're neither dog nor cat, but they're kind of like they're their own, from what I remember. I know I'm going to get into my dorkiness side for a second. From what I remember, they're their own species category. So I've spent way too many times in zoos and in wildlife habitat areas. Yeah, I think they're their own category. They have like scent glands, like how skunks do, and like that whole weasel family kind of is in one category. What are they called? There's a name for them. Can't remember off the top of my head. But they have like how ferrets also have like scent glands. Foxes also have like smelly scent glands, and they smell like skunks. I don't know if people are familiar with that, but yes. They say like if you smell like a skunky smell, but there's no like skunk carcass or skunks around, then it's probably a fox. Which is a funny fact. I learned that from a private zoo. And foxes make the strangest sounds. I know, I was supposed to be talking about the industry, but now I'm talking about foxes. Yeah, I'm going to jump around in my thought process. This is so much like the fox in Fox and the Hound, and it's so true that a lot of the early Disney artists like established the look for like multiple character archetypes. And I mean archetypes as in like, you know, I'm getting dorky, but it's true. Like the Fox and the Hound and like what's the other one? Robin Hood kind of set the stage for like every animated fox, or I don't want to use that word that I don't like, cartoon. But every like character design is kind of, for foxes, is kind of based on that now. I think it's been like that for a minute. And they say too, like the Sword in the Stone, like every child character, every boy especially, is based off of Wart from well, in popular animation they base it on, and I see it too, and if you start to look you'll see it also. that the style just kind of stuck as like the style, just kind of like the paws too. Like that's kind of like Don Bluth fingers, animal fingers. He kind of, and he used to work at Disney too, but he really like made the little puff fingers. And you'll see it in all of his films. And then like ever since he did that, I feel like every, I don't know if maybe Milt Kahl started it, but I think Don Bluth really made it popular. But ever since then, you see all of the animal characters with those puffy fingers because it looks cool. But they discovered something that looks fun, and then people just keep it going because it looks nice. His eyes look kind of dead. I hate when they look. I don't know if it's. Oops. They're not looking at a particular thing enough, and sometimes that can happen when. And now it looks creepy, but it's hard sometimes when you use a type of brush that's doesn't feel right, and then you gotta make sure they're both looking at the same spot, because they're not going to be in the exact same place. There, that's better, but you have to make sure they're looking at the same thing, which is kind of a weird thing, but yeah, you do. Because you think they both be like in the same position as like if you have a face and they're both in the same position, but it's like not looking at anything. But if you have them look, I know it's weird. Then it feels like they're looking. Okay, am I gonna call it for this one? Let's see. This is Nick the Fox. Alright, I might just go ahead and make another layer for my second sketch. We'll just add a little bit of something there. He has pants too, but I didn't really draw his pants. He has color too, but I'm not going to do all the color and all that. Okay, let's do the second one. This one is less of the modern version. Let's see. It looks like it was probably an earlier concept. It's a little bit more elongated, more weasel-like, which foxes are kind of weasel-like. Even in their diet, don't they eat like chicken eggs and stuff? But the state of the industry, let's go back to that for a second. I think I like the sentiment that there's always going to be room for us artists, people in the world of animation and in the world of, I want to say more than art, but like popular culture and entertainment. I think it makes more sense to be hopeful than to be in despair, especially about the AI and all of that other stuff that people worry about. I just wish it wasn't such a, I mean, I get it. You can't like ignore it and act like it's not there, because it's still there. But I don't think that we should be consumed by it either. and put all of our thoughts and energy into what AI is doing and what AI is not doing. Is it, oh, people say if you don't use AI, you're going to get replaced by somebody who does. And, you know, I don't know how true it is. We don't know. We don't know yet. We don't know. I think the average person still is hard to tell AI from actual art. And it was pretty easy at first to be able to spot, for me myself, AI art versus like actual human drawn. There's a couple of times where I got fooled and I was like, hold on, wait a second, something's strange here. But I have to admit, it's getting harder, even for like an artist's eye, to tell some of the things, especially like I think it's harder for me to tell like the real thing, like the things that are based off of video, like live video, because live action video, because I can't rely on the image really to tell. I have to rely on like my logic, like, does this even make sense? And that's what I ask. That's how I tell. I'm like, hold on, does this even make any sense at all? And then I look for little cues in like the visuals. But first I'm like, hold on, I can't even go on. I haven't really enjoyed Facebook for years now, and I don't really use it, but I've gone on there a few times in the past. His eyes look awful with all of this shading. It looks like he's been smoking stuff. All the sketchiness messed up his eyes. But I can't even like look up there without getting irritated because this is so much AI on there now. Especially like the video, like the reels are all like fake videos of somebody doing some AI, getting attacked by some AI animal or doing something they shouldn't be doing. I'm just like, I don't like this eye at all. Just gonna delete it until I can make a new one. I'm gonna delete both eyes and figure out where I want to put them. Alright. Alright, they're really low on his head. Because he's so sleeky, I guess. That's kind of his personality. So I'm guessing that's why they did his eyes in such a way. I really hope that my microphone is on the right microphone. Okay. It appears to be. Oh, but I didn't say, I wanted to say thank you to everyone who subscribed, because I hit 900 subscribers recently, and that was a very cool milestone, because you guys don't even know how long I was I keep talking about this, but you don't even know how long I was on 19 subscribers. I was on 19 subscribers for like 2 years, y'all. And I didn't even care. I was just like, whatever. People will find me. The right ones will find me. And apparently y'all did. I think that's really cool. Alright, so the subject at hand. I don't know how much more I want to talk about AI. I hate it. I mean, I use ChatGPT. Oh God, I know. People keep saying it's bad for the water. I don't know what that means. Apparently it's like using water. I don't use it for like, what do I use it to like organize.
I think everybody is kind of using it in that way too. Not everybody, but I think a lot of people. I don't like, you know, using that the crowd excuse. Well, everybody's doing it. Like, who cares what everybody's doing? No, not everybody's doing anything. I'm doing it. I like to organize on there and like, but I'm trying to not like. I'm trying to be mindful because you can be like, you can get you can get sucked in if you're not careful. It feels like you get sucked into like, oh, well, maybe I should let this thing write my mom a birthday card. I don't know. It feels like it would be easy to get sucked into that after a few years of using it, you know? Like what we've considered okay now is probably going to be a lot more loose in a couple years if we're not like mindful. And if they don't put like more parameters around it. Because I think it's really up to, I think the government has a purpose and they're supposed to keep things together, keep people from doing what they shouldn't do. I think that's the whole purpose of isn't that the whole purpose of government, to keep people from doing things they're not supposed to do, like killing people and stealing property and stealing intellectual property. That was the purpose of a government. But I digress. What do I know about governments? I'm gonna move this eye down some. I think that's a little bit. Let's make this a little bit smaller so we can fit his whole body into the frame. Now, how would you do this if you're not familiar with drawing, like from reference or otherwise? You wouldn't be doing all this detail right away. That's for sure. You wouldn't be doing any of that. You really have to get used to like getting used to where things go automatically. And that takes a while. It doesn't take forever, but it takes practice. Not that I'm so great, because I'm not. I'm not that great. I'm pretty great, but I'm pretty dumb. No, I mean seriously, it does. I mean, only doing this for what? I don't know how many years, but seriously, it takes a while to get that to just get the proportions, and even just to get the characters to stand in a even a still. I still like will see if my character might be like, all right, I need to adjust him a little bit because maybe he's standing a little lopsided or something. So we have to notice those things. There's a lot of artists that there's always going to be artists that are better than you draw or whatever. It doesn't matter. I think you should feel good about how you draw, because the whole point of drawing and not doing AI is because drawing is a fun activity that you get some kind of enjoyment from. Even when you do it as a career, you still like, you do it because it gives you some sort of satisfaction, even when it's a pain in the butt sometimes, because it's something that you learned to do. And that's why I don't say it like, oh yeah, I'm just like this, but it's like something that you've taken the time to put into, and then after a while you get used to certain principles that go with it. And then once you learn those principles, you can help other people to learn it as well. But that's what gives you the leverage to talk about it and be able to talk about it from a point of, oh, this is what I've experienced. So if I say, like, you know, you have to do this or that, it's just some principle that I learned after doing it 50 million times. And I just didn't like how thick the line had gotten in his mouth. Yeah, this is an older design for sure. I wonder at what stage of the process they made this one. This one was by Cory Loftus again, but it probably was one of his earlier versions. I mean, clearly it was one of his earlier versions, but I'm just curious how early on this came out. This one was floating around before the actual Nick that we know now came to be. And Ron Husband taught me about just adding some, because I used to just sketch, you know, without, and that's what I'm talking about with like learning things and then be able to teach them. And so many things I was able to learn from other people, thankfully. Ron Husband was an animator at Disney, but I took a class that he had with CTN a few years ago, and it was like doodling. It was like outside sketching class, and he just told me, like, you know, make sure you put a little shadow area so it doesn't look like your characters are floating. You know, even if it's just a sketch, doodle, whatever, just put a little something there. And let me tell you, it made such a big difference in my sketchbook, in my drawings, in my figure drawings. It's a simple little thing to do, but it made a big difference. Just putting some kind of hint of a shadow makes a big difference. Alright, there's Nick 2 Jonas. Let's see who's next. This is like daddy and son. There was this story in Zootopia, the first one, about Nick's dad. Or like, I remember the stories about him getting picked on by those other bullies for being a predator or whatever. I know predator has such a different meaning these days, but he's leaning a little bit too much. I know his chest is supposed to come forward, but I just wonder if it's coming too forward. I don't want him to look like he's not balanced. So let me just do that. Doesn't even need to be that much. That's fine, I think. And let's see. Yeah, but I mean, I think I was starting to get here, but last time I was talking in my last sketch, but it's so important to understand proportions. Like, if you haven't learned proportions, you gotta like take the time for that. It's so important. It's like, after doing it, like, you might need to measure out all of your drawings for a time, maybe just for a couple of months, and understand like head height. I know it sounds weird, but let me get his head on and I think I can explain it better. But it makes a big difference. Alright, let's see, where is his... trying to find his muzzle and his eye sockets, but the eye sockets are way bigger than the eyes actually are. And I think his nose is bigger than it needs to be. This is like the dad character. I'm not sure if he comes up in the movie, honestly. The bunny's dad does. Judy Hopps. Her dad, her whole family is in the movie. But for Nick, I don't know if his dad actually. I haven't watched the movie. How long has it been? I think it's been just like a year. I think I watched it last year some point. But I can't remember. There's this DMV in Pasadena. It's so funny. Like a real DMV. And they have sloths, like the sloths from Zootopia all over the place. And it's been like that. It's been like that for a long, like at least, it's been like that for, like, you know, it's a homage to the first movie, obviously. But they didn't just, what I'm trying to say is they didn't just put it up for the second one. It's been there. I think it's so funny. Because most places, especially like where I came from before, which is New York, like people in government spaces don't have a sense of humor at all. Like if you go to New York and you have to go to the DMV, like you're gonna get treated like you're probably in prison. Like, they're not gonna be nice to you. They're not gonna have a sense of humor about anything. So I just found it very comical. I think most DMVs probably are like that though. I mean, but New York is like probably up there. They really have no sense of customer service at any. I'm sorry, New York City, but y'all really need to step up the customer service. Like seriously. Hopefully that mayor does something good. I don't know. I don't live there anymore, so it's not really my problem. Some of my friends still live in New York, though. That's kind of, let's see. He looks maybe too young. Let's see. I think I need to move this eye just a little bit more. There. Okay. And make him look slightly more smug. Maybe this, yeah, I think the eyebrows just need to come down more to make him look more smug. Because this is not Nick. This is Nick's dad or whatever. Yeah, that works. And even has like a little bit of chin hair or something. Maybe just, that's just part of the aging him look. Just a little hint of chin hair and some aging, like a double chin, just a little bit of a hint there. Let me get rid of some of these lines because I want to see his face clear enough. Okay. And let's see. Okay, I think I'm going to, let's see, Alright, that's cool. And I'm going to draw the little kid character also, like Nick Jr. Oh, that's a cute name for baby Nick. Even though it's a competing company, it's still a cute name. And let's see, what else would I like to talk about while we're here? While I have your attention. Like, some of these characters would be really fun to do a little backstory on. Like, I love, like, he looks like a stockbroker or something. That would be my guess. Nick seems like a disgruntled child of a wealthy person who, like, didn't leave him any inheritance. And like, what would be Nick's backstory? I feel like Nick probably had like maybe he developed like a drug problem in college because of his predator. This is so wild. If you were to think of a backstory for Nick, wouldn't he have a drug problem? I feel like he would. And I think that he probably dropped out of college, and like, he definitely is an East Coast guy. He's not a West Coast guy. He came from the East Coast. He was dropped out of college and then came to, like, maybe he was working odd jobs, and that's what brought him to the West Coast, because obviously Zootopia is like a metaphor for Los Angeles. I think it is. Especially like Judy Hopps' experience. Come on, like the dream and all that stuff. Alright, so then after he moved to, like, LA, maybe he was in love with a girl, and that's what got him cleaned up. But then either she broke his heart or she died in some tragic way. He just started hustling again. He started hustling, but he, was still sober. This is how I think of characters. And then, then he meets Judy Hopps like 3 years later, or maybe 2 years later, when he's ready for love again. Because clearly, him and Judy are in love. Clearly. Even though they're different animal species, doesn't matter. That is my backstory. You can make your own. You can make your own. I don't know where that farm would be. I guess it's like, it's clearly like some Midwest place, maybe Iowa. I don't know where they actually grow carrots at. But if Judy's farm were to be like a real place, I don't know. I would probably say Iowa. Something like that. You can start getting rid of like these hairy lines if you want to. Some of them are cool, but some of them get in the way. So that's why I delete them if I need to. This wouldn't even be the cleanup yet. Obviously you can do the cleanup but I like my rough sketch to be clear enough that you can see what's happening. Especially if I'm going to be sharing it with all you folks. And I think I'll move him over a little bit so we can finish his tail. Yeah, I like doing animal characters more than humans. Animals are more interesting than humans to me. They just are. They're not, they don't have politics. They don't. There's no drama. Well, there is drama. Animals are always drama, but you know, when you're enjoying them, there's no drama. Alright, I think that one's good. Alright, I'm going to do his little son next to him. Let's see. He's about... Oh, head height. So that would be... Let me do it on a separate layer. So the height of his head, which is this. Like this. And you would, you know, actually it's a little bit... It's where the skull is. You're not thinking about the ears or hair. You're just thinking about where his skull is. I know I did this in a video a long time ago, so if you want to look up proportions, you can probably find it. So how many... I know I've done it. I think I've done it a couple times. It's not that much. Trying to eyeball this. I could just, you know, copy and paste, but I think for right now, this is okay. So he's about 3.5 heads tall. About. Because that will be 3. This. And this is right about half. We want to end it at the ankle. So that's about a half. So the average human is 8. So you think 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you think about the body. I know we're not doing anatomy right now, but I just want, and this is like a non-caricaturized, and that's just a skull. So when you do the actual jawline and the neck, you can see it's about 8 heads. So it helps you to think about it that way when you're trying to get your proportions together, and so you're not all out of shape. When you do like caricatured people and caricatured animals, it's just about always going to be like a more of a child's proportions, because if you think about like a toddler, like I'm gonna do like a caricature of a toddler, they're only like 3 or 4 heads tall, like toddlers. I can do 1, 2. I know this is gonna be a big toddler. Maybe 3 heads. Toddler. Yeah, babies are like maybe 4 heads tall. You think about a toddler body. Little feet. And then their jaw or whatever. Yeah, this will be like a toddler size. Like, hi, I'm a toddler. And then a baby size is like, you know, literally like, you think about a baby, like literally like that's it. But the idea of making characters, you make them like more cute, and in our human brain, cute equals young, cute equals baby, cute equals puppy. You have a puppy, their head is almost bigger than their body. Sometimes it seems that way, right? Like their head is, and they do like these big eyes and stuff, even because in our human brain, the small body to head ratio equals cute and appealing. So that's why we like it. But it's just something to keep in mind when you're doing characters. You're doing realistic characters, you're gonna do them more to that 8 count, but you know, fun characters, cute, appealing characters, you're gonna make their head size bigger to their body. Like this guy, He really has like a big head for his body size. I'm gonna try and get his proportions out before I do any details. And I would recommend at any point, if you're doing when you're doing a serious sketch, whether it's of an animal, of a caricature, or realistic, if you're doing a serious sketch, I recommend getting as much of the whole body in there before you start doing any type of detail. It just makes life easier. When you start feeling more comfortable, or you're doing like doodling, you can play with things, play around, and there's no rules when you're doodling. Just, when you're learning, actively learning, it's good to take up certain types of things to get you in, to get it etched in your brain so you don't have to think about it anymore. It's not that. It's not quite that. That reminded me of another character. I don't remember who, but there was another character who has a nose like that. Maybe it was Mickey Mouse. I don't know. I was like, oh, that's too much Mickey going on. Even now, it's too much Mickey going on. But even Mickey Mouse, how many proportions is he? He's probably like 3 or 4 heads tall. Let me get his... figure out where this muzzle's coming from. A little bit better. And the eyes. They do an eye style in this film that I'm realizing more. The eyes are coming forward. I think they do that in The Lion King too, where the eyes are kind of coming forward to the face. Okay, I need to even out whatever is going on right here. It's too much hairy stuff, too much hairy line. I need to figure that out. Alright, that's better. Okay. I hear that Zootopia is responsible for making the Gen Z furries. I don't know. I don't know how true that is. Whatever. Somebody can affirm or deny it. I don't know. I don't know too much about it. It's been around, like, I remember, like, what is it with the animation community? I don't know. It's a thing. It's a thing. I don't know. I remember, like, when I was in animation school, people had, like tail attachment stuffs to their backpack or whatever. That's cool with me. If that's what you like, then I'm not going to ask any questions. I don't know. I don't know too much about it. That's all. I won't say anything more. I don't want to say anything inappropriate. I don't want to say anything inappropriate. This show is rated T for teen. Alright, so maybe this will be my last character for the day. This little duo. He looks so stiff. There's something about this one that's looking... I don't know if it's his neck. Maybe it's his neck. He just feels kind of stiff to me. even just that little bit, I feel like helps. That feels better, right? It's not exactly how the original is, but it feels better to me. It feels like he's breathing. He's looking too tight before, like something was wrong, something was up. This feels better. Even that little backwards hair thing, they did that too. And the backwards hair on the elbow, they did that in Robin Hood. Maybe it started with I'm just gonna leave it alone. All of the anthropomorphic animals, I'm just going to leave it alone. You really can't see this on the drawing, so I'm gonna take this out, I think, because his shirt is like coming forward. I wonder what the first anthropomorphic animation is. I don't know. That would be a good thing to kind of, I think animals, well, obviously animals have been caricaturized into like human type of. And I've been reading that book, Hero with a Thousand Faces, and it talk about like these Greek mythologies and like the origin of like the Minotaur species, and it's kind of wild. So I think it's been around forever. Maybe it started with the Minotaurs. That book is a kind of like, it wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be more, I don't know, I was expecting it to be more modern or like, it's really like a philosophy book. It feels like. If you ever like read any stories about characters or like writing, and like that one is really, I'm gonna try and, well, I don't want to say try. I'm gonna finish reading it, but I don't know how long it's gonna take me, because I don't know, I there's only so many like really philosophical type of books I can read. I like history, especially about like African history and histories that are like, that I feel like I need to know. But like some types of like philosophy type of books, it's like, it's a little harder for me to get through. I'm not gonna even lie. It's like, oh, I gotta force myself to be smarter. Be smarter. Don't be lazy, be smart. I feel like his shadow should start like here. Alright. I think we're good. I like his little tail. I like their little fox bodies. I'm gonna fix this real quick though. They have like a double line and it was annoying me. So I'm gonna fix his little tail. But I think they look fun. Alright. Where are we at now? We are right at almost an hour. So this was cool. Maybe I should give them a little bit of shading or something. Yeah, why not? Let's save this. Give them just a little bit of something to work with. Alright, let's see. Let's see how this looks. That's so like blue. I know they're like orangey though. I just want to see if I like it maybe. And then I could always adjust. I think I made this a little bit smaller. Maybe it's a little bit on the little kid. They look too scrolly with that blue. I'm gonna change the color. Let's see. There we go. A little pink, a little orangey, maybe a little orangey. It's too fleshy like that. Be a little darker. And let's see, maybe a little bit of let's see. Should be paler. Maybe I'll just make this little shirt this bluer color. Just give it a little bit of depth or something about the kid. It's got more of a yellowy green type of. Maybe I'll have the same like darker green pants. Interesting. That's kind of fun. What if we did that? And just kept the lighter pink as like the highlight color. That could be kind of interesting. That way they still look kind of foxy, or more so foxy than they did before. Even though this is really like kind of muted, it's kind of fun to play with, especially like, you know, when you're doing study sketches, we're doing sketching for fun, you can play around like that. I think I like doing that, just messing around. It doesn't have to be exact and all that. You don't gotta worry about so many of the specifics. Let's get in here, make maybe this part a little bit darker, and this part that's lighter on his eyes. That feels fun though. Doesn't feel like it gives him just a little bit of floor shadow. That's my timer. It means I gotta go. Maybe just 50%. And I think that's good. That's fun. I like it. I'm happy with it. Alright, guys. That is it for this first episode of Studying the Masters. Season 5, Zootopia. Oh my gosh, this was fun. I enjoyed it. Hope that you guys enjoyed it. And I will see you guys next time. So until I see you again, be grateful, live balanced, and be yourself. Bye bye.